Hey everyone, Mike here from FilterGrade again, and today I have a new type of video for you. So, in a few days we're releasing a new product called FilmStock. Essentially what this is a collection of analog film styles for Photoshop. So retro effects, light leaks, analog errors, and other cool things that'll help build a nice retro effect around your image. So today I want to do a quick demo of the product and show you exactly what's included. To do that, I'm going to apply all the effects to this image. So to get started, we're going to select the FilmStock Play All action. You'll see a dialog box when you play it, and then you just hit continue. Included in all of our FilterGrade products is a Play All action, and what this does is it plays every single effect in the pack and then groups them according to their task, and then on top of that it will turn all the effects off. So then at the end of the action, you'll have each effect grouped and organized and shut off, so you can turn them on, build them on top of each other, and basically just build the effect you want for your image without having to play each action separately and delete them and mess up your whole editing process. So it's really an easy way to play everything at once. So if you want to save time as well as a lot of effort in terms of looking for the right effect, I would suggest using the play all action when you get started rather than playing individually. So in just a few more seconds it'll be complete, and I'll go ahead and run you through each effect included. Alright, all set. So to get started, I usually use the noise and grain filters. These are a nice background filter for your photo. So it just adds some noise in the background. And I usually go with the medium one. The hard's a little bit too much noise, and the soft is a little hard to see. So I'm just going with medium. Then next, you're going to want to look at the analog looks. So these are the bulk of what the product is, and they're actual analog film styles based off the cameras of that time period. So first we have analog tint 1. And this adds just a nice vintage effect. And then you can always adjust the opacity if you're not happy with how harsh it is, and I usually do, but I make them a little bit more harsh for people who enjoy that. So right now I'm going to tone it down to about 60%, and it still looks great, but it's not too harsh. I'm going to turn it off for now so I can show you the rest of the effects, but we'll build on this later. So next we have analog tint 2, another great analog style. Then we have the monotone effect, which is a black and white look. Let me close this so you can see. Then we have the analog fades effect, which is probably my favorite out of all the looks. And this adds a nice leak up here, or down here and up here, and then a green tone to your image. And you can always go in and adjust the brightness or the curves if there's too much contrast or not enough in your images. But we'll leave that. Then we have analog lith, which is like a sepia black and white. Then we have the roast effect, which is similar to the previous one, but with some color in it and a more yellow tone. Then we have roast 2, which is similar to the previous effect, but harsher shadows and darker. And then we have the analog vignette effect, which adds a vignette to the edges and a red tone. Then we have the caramel effect, which fades out the image and adds a brown blend. And then we have analog burn, which is a burnt look with a little bit of brightness. So I'm going to go ahead and turn analog tint 1 back on, and then we'll move from there. So next we have the add-ons, which are made to replicate certain errors that occurred with film cameras of the time. So the first one is analog soft burn, and this just adds like a hazy look to your image. Then we have analog bleach, which bleaches it out completely, which is one of my favorite effects as well of the add-ons because it's so unique and interesting. Next we have analog expose, which just bumps up the exposure a little bit, you'll see in here. Then we have analog distortion, which adds like a posterized effect. And then we have analog green tone, which greens it out. And finally, we have a hard burn effect. So it's a little bit harder than the previous one. And if you want like a burnt out image, this is a great one. I'm going to go ahead and use analog bleach and then turn it down to about 50%. After that, I usually put on a light leak or two because it adds a nice blur and sort of like brightness to the image. The first three are just simple leaks that come on the edges of your image. You'll see the second one here and the third one here. And if you ever want to adjust the light leak, all you have to do is turn it on and double click the gradient layer. So then let's say you wanted to take this light leak and move it to this bottom left corner. So all you have to do is adjust the angle until you get the right side, so about 5, maybe 6 or 4. 7% looks good. And then if you want to adjust the color, you just come into the gradient layer, click that, double click the bottom color, and move this up or down. and then you can get a more orange or a more red color. And then you could always change that however you like. I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that and leave it. But let me just show you the rest of the light leaks first. So then we have the Lomo effect, which adds like a radiating orange glow in the center of the image. The leak filters, which are on their own. This is one of my favorites, the leak filter 2. And then we have leak blend, which overexposes the image a bit and adds a leak on this side. I'm going to stick with leak 2. And next we're going to go ahead and look at the fades. So these are the last effects that we include. And these just add like a wash over the edge of your image. So fade 1 looks like this. Fade 2 looks like this. And fade 3 looks like this. I'm not going to use those for our image because it already looks pretty bleached out. But those are useful if you want a background image or something of that nature. So that's it for the actions. But then I also included a set of brushes to really emulate the dust and film scratches you might see in photos of that time period. So what you're going to want to do is create a new layer so you can apply the brushes. And then go ahead and check out the brushes panel. And then I'm going to select the first one and change the color to white. And then in the center, click twice. And you might not be able to see it perfectly on camera, but there's a few little dust specks up, down here, over here, in that area. I'm going to create a new layer and do one in black just so you can see the difference. And we'll do, let's do the 5th one. I'm going to click in the center. And as you can see, they're all over the place. And then I'm just going to turn the opacity down to 20% to make them blend in more. And this one I'll do 50%. And that's basically it for the product demo. So as you can see, included with FilmStock, you get a ton of great resources to really build on top of each other and create the perfect analog photo that you want. And that's about all I have to demo today. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment or email us at support@filtergrade.com and I'd be happy to answer them. And I encourage you to check out FilmStock today. Thanks so much.